the participants who are joining the session today. So today's session will be led by the Sangeeta Gulati ma'am, who is a certified CBSE trainer and who is already a Google certified trainer and an inventor. So basically, after the session, once this session will get complete, everyone will get one feedback link on their email. I request you all after attending the session, please fill the feedback form. After completing the feedback form only, you will be able to download your certification. So over to you, Sangeeta ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bhavna, and welcome everyone to Gemini Academy. So we are looking at a 90-minute session where we will try to cover lots, but still may not be enough. So hang on, pay attention to little and big details that are coming your way. Let's get started with understanding what Gemini can do. And if you have already experienced Gemini, then definitely we would love to hear your experiences as well. I'm going to share my slides here so that we can have a reference point. But yes, we will be doing live demos. So it will be great if you can then download on your mobile phone so that you can test around whatever we are going to, showcase in this session. As we get started, it will be lovely to hear where are you joining from? Are you a student? And if you are a student, where are you studying? What are your experiences about using AI and in particular the Gemini? Starting with just a little bit of introduction of myself, I'm Sangeeta Gulati. I'm a teacher at heart and absolutely also passionate about sharing whatever I learn. And now I'm also happy to share Gemini and many other things that we do with Google Workspace for Education. So with that, let's get started and think about the core purpose of today's session. And that is to understand the idea of what Gemini can do for us. So this session is basically going to cover what Google AI's assistant, Gemini, can do. Also, how it can help you to learn better. How can it make you more efficient? How can it also make your learning more personalized? So this is something which the session is aimed to give you a bit of boost to your confidence level so that you stay informed and also you are ready to use Gemini in ways that would genuinely support your learning without, of course, replacing it. Again, quick look at the agenda of today. We'll start with some basic terminologies. AI is AI ethics and academic integrity, which definitely has to be given due importance, along with learning the tools and the various scenarios in which you can use Gemini. And of course, we will also try to cover a little bit of what prompts and prompt writing should be. So how do we engineer, how do you put together what you want any AI to do for you? That matters. And that's where writing effective prompts is important. We'll also definitely do live demos. So stay tuned for that, where we will try to cover various tools of Gemini in sync with how and when they help you to do better job. And of course, at the end, you will get some resources. As Bhavna ma'am has just mentioned, you will get a link in which you will be able to submit your feedback and also get the certificate of attendance. Let's get started then to think about what Gemini, or in general, to begin with, what's one wish you think you can have for AI to make a difference in your current life, wherever you are, whether you are a student who has just started their college life, or you are one who's been you've been maybe done your undergraduation and now you're looking for more achievements in terms of higher accomplishments. Maybe you are doing a doctorate. So what's one thing you wish AI could help you with right now as wherever you are? Do feel free to use the chat. If you are joining us on Google Meet, you may use that. If you're going to watch this session on YouTube, feel free to put your comments on YouTube chat as well. I may not be able to answer immediately, but our team is looking closely at what you are sharing, and we will try to reach back and get some answers done as well. But do stay engaged in the chat. So again, did you say that maybe you wish that AI can get you score better? Did we? So yes, you are a student and your aim is to do better and excel perhaps better than the last time. Keep excelling in your performance, academic performance. So yes, that's a possibility. Maybe you're under pressure of too many things and you are running short of time. You have lots of deadlines to keep up and you are fighting for that time. So can AI help you to save time? Yes, I'm sure it will be able to. So answers could be varied, but I'm sure you're looking for maybe productivity, you're looking for better learning, because all of these will go together in giving shape to how your future shapes up. So yes, AI can help you make a difference there. But before we jump into the tools, let's think about a little bit, not going into a full-fledged computer science lesson, but just in plain, simple English language, let's think about what AI is. Also, get familiar with certain buzzwords that always come in whenever there is a discussion of. Let's know what are the buzzwords you think are related to AI. I'm sure you understand what artificial intelligence is in very, very general sense. Again, as I said, we are not getting into the nitty-gritties of it, but artificial intelligence is making that computer mimic the cognitive functions which are associated with human intelligence. Basically trying to make the computers think like us, right? Or better than us. So the functions that usually we associate with human intelligence are the ones that we are making and the computers are now responding to and behaving as. That is where the artificial intelligence comes in. Also, what sets AI apart from the traditional software is that it can improve over time. Again, just like a child who starts learning, when the child looks around his environment and he sees his elders behaving in a certain manner, he mimics that. He tries to follow that pattern. Same is what artificial intelligence behaves as. The more it experiences, better it gets. So that is the powerful ability of AI, that it is going to keep getting better and better. And it's time that we keep up with this change and we try to also understand what artificial intelligence can do and how to make best use of that. So today's session is just an attempt to make you better in understanding and empowering you in making use of AI. So again, you must have, what the verb became, let's Google, right? If you want to find a certain information, you go into the Google, well, either through the Chrome browser or otherwise, but you Google for information. Google definitely is known as one of the most powerful search engine. So again, why is Google focused on developing AI? So again, that goes, way back to the core mission of Google to organize the world's information and to make it universally accessible and useful. So AI is one of the most powerful tools to help bring that mission to life. Google also sees AI as a transformational technology, not something to replace people, but to support. So I hope you're now trying to understand and able to connect to the importance that Google does to us as well as the learning that is happening. Google's goal is basically to build AI that is genuinely helpful, tools that will empower people, work alongside us, and make everyday tasks easier. So, in very, very short ways, this is what the importance that Google gives to artificial intelligence, and it's been working at it for a long time. Again, the common AI terms that we have been hearing, and I hope some of you have put that in the chat, and two of these words are machine learning and Gen AI. So, what is machine learning? Machine learning is that subset of AI which, instead of being told exactly what to do, these systems learn and grow by spotting pattern in the data and then improving based on what they find. Generative AI is the one that really caused all this uproar, changed the way that we are now thinking and working and creating. Generative AI is that kind of artificial intelligence which basically takes in loads of information and then creates something. It could be new text, it could be images, even the code or audio and videos. So much that generative AI can do and is doing. And so these are one would say, among many other buzzwords that are around us. You're looking at this two words that I have just talked about. Again, I did mention prompt writing. So prompts are basically that input on the basis of which the artificial intelligence works. So it's what you guide the system to do. It will contain maybe some questions, instructions, certain even contextual information. You can also give examples. So that is what prompts are made of. Two other words on my slides here. Token and context window. Tokens are the small chunks of information that AI uses to process language, like part of a word or image. It's how that AI reads and responds to your input. So if you hear the word tokens again, that this particular AI tool has these many free tokens, hopefully you'll have a better understanding of what is being talked about. Context window is the amount of information that AI can process at once, which is measured in tokens. Connected, right? So think of context window like the short-term memory of AI. It can only remember a certain amount of new information at one time before it forgets. And longer the context window, the more information a model can take in and process. So you may, find a reference to these terms as we go along. But I think it's time now that you meet Gemini. So Gemini is Google AI tool. It is it can become, and it is in fact your personal AI assistant offered by Google. And it is again the result of decades of AI research. It's built right from the ground up with advanced language. And it is at this moment, it's one of the best AI model that you have. So what do we mean by Gemini and how do we get to that? If you can type in the Chrome browser, gemini.google.com, you will be able to access the web app. And if you are downloading the app of Gemini from whichever Play Store that your phone has, you will be able to access the Gemini app. Both are very, very robust. And if you're using the same account to stay signed in, conversations from one platform to the other continue. Here's a QR code. If you don't know where to go to get the app for Gemini, you can scan that QR code and you can download and you can get ready to start testing it, playing with it, and learning with it. Once you open the web app, that is, if you go to gemini.google.com, you would be able to get a kind of a image or kind of a visual as it is showing right now. That's basically the anatomy of the Gemini app. These are the parts that you can easily recognize and identify. The first one that we definitely observe is that at box, there is a box where you will type in or even speak the prompts that you want to make use of. All the conversations that you will do with Gemini, these conversations will stay in your control. They will be visible on the left side under the three lines, that hamburger bar that we say. So they will always be there, and then you can always start a new chat from there as well, as it is indicated in this picture as well. We are also going to explore more tools than the chat. So there's going to be, as you can see here, every Gemini app that you open up will show you some extra tools depending on the version that you are following. So you will find deep research. We are also at creating videos, creating images, canvas, and for a student, what you must know is guided learning. We can also attach files. So there's a plus sign, click on that, and you can attach files either from the local storage or from the Google Drive. All of these then will become your reference material, basis of which the conversation will continue. So again, if we just look at small pause there and give yourself a time to think about what can a tool like this do, then the few points that you are seeing on my screen would possibly be the one that you may be able to understand and acknowledge. How will I help you? It will help you by deepening the understanding, and that would be a kind of on-demand support. You will ask for help and you will get the help. You will also be able to, of course, prepare for exams by taking quizzes, which you can create or your teachers can give you through various ways. With one of them would, of course, be Google Classroom. You can also brainstorm and research ideas, get feedback, just to make sure that you have somebody else other than your mentors who are available or are there for you in your university. You can also take feedback even on a resume. So if you're sending out resumes, you want someone to look at it and give you critical analysis of what is correct and what is not. Is there something missing? Use Gemini for that. And of course, later we'll also talk about Notebook LM. So Notebook LM is great for many things, but it can also help you to check your resume versus the vacancy that might be that you are applying for, or the profile that you are applying for. But Notebook LM is one excellent tool which you can use to understand the resources that are recommended, maybe as part of your course, the sources that you have or resources that you have created while studying, and you do not want to go away from them. You want to only understand the content that is already there and use or create rather your own personalized AI research assistant. In that scenario, we are going to come back to Notebook LM, because Notebook LM is the one which is grounded solely on the information you provide. So definitely end with talking about Notebook LM in great detail. Before we start experiencing Gemini in deep, let's spend a minute on thinking about the AI ethics and academic integrity. Generative AI is a powerful and versatile tool. Knowing when and how to use it does matter. So as generative AI has become more widespread, universities around the world are developing policies to guide you on ethical and appropriate. So do make sure that you follow these rules. You do make sure that you get better in understanding what the requirement, what is expected, what is accepted and not. Also, be very, very careful. Do not put too many personal and sensitive or confidential information in AI tools. Make sure that you also check AI output against maybe a double check or double sources for accuracy. Sometimes bias comes in, and of course, the missing perspectives. So you need to be aware of that. You need to stay alert on that. And in Gemini, you will also have a chance to double check the responses so that you can see whether they are authentic or not. We're also looking at acknowledging the meaningful AI tools. So if you create something with Gemini, then it is required that you give due credit. So if you had noticed, my cover slide had two images which I had created using Gemini, and I had very clearly marked out that image was created with Gemini. Because sometimes you do need to tell that you have taken help, but the thought, the prompt, the analysis, the follow-up is yours, but give credit to the AI tool that you are using. Also, make sure that the final work that you submit reflects your own thinking. That's most important. So sometimes 80-20 kind of a rule works. Let AI do 80% of the work, but 20% of the work you need to put in as well. Now, when you say, okay, I'm going to use an AI tool, we better know what to ask it. So writing effective prompt is one of the most fundamental skills that you need for using intelligence. Google has recommended for Gemini a certain framework which we call as parts. So when you look at this particular slide, you will be able to see each of these letters, PARTS. What do they stand for? So P is for persona. A, the act, that means you're going to clearly set what the task is. When I say persona, you're giving a role to Gemini. T would be the theme on which we are going to do the maybe create something or ask for something, which would be the topic or concept. S is the structure, that means what format do you want? So R, of course, is the most important one as well. Who are you asking the help for, right? So if you look at this little prompt there, learning as maybe a first year student, and I'm asking for the prompt or written the prompt as acting as a physics expert. Explain the concept of entropy in the thermodynamics in a way that someone unfamiliar with physics can understand. Provide real world examples. So each of these sentences are in sync with parts, but yes, you're free to be flexible. You may not use all 5 components, maybe 4 are good enough to give you a prompt as a reply, but you should always iterate till you get the best output. So acting as a physics expert is a persona. Explain the concept becomes the act. Entropy in thermodynamics is the concept or theme, and in a way that someone unfamiliar. So that's a recipient, right? And provide real world examples is the kind of format or requirement. I can also ask it list, right? So when I ask for list, that's also a format. Here I have asked for some real world examples. So this together makes a good prompt. So when we write prompts, it will be helpful to keep this part's structure and framework in mind and ensure that our prompts are more complete. But if they don't give you the best answer, iterate. Let me, move on, and then we will get into the action and show you these things. As I said, it's going to be very much a hands-on session. So certain things are going to be done live. So hopefully you will also join in as we go along. So as we start off with the live demos, let's think of a scenario. Let's think of you as a student who's finished a class. You have come back now and you are trying to figure out what you learned in that lesson. You're getting a little unsure. Topic that was taught today. Maybe the lesson went too fast, or you could not get the entire explanation. Now, tomorrow, when you go back to the class, your faculty member or lecturer might expect you to know exactly what was taught. So you're worried and you want to now test yourself. You want to ensure yourself to say whether I am ready or not to move on. So this is where you can use Gemini to create a quiz for yourself. So instead of just talking about it, let's go to Gemini and create and test what I have just mentioned. So again, as I said, where do we go? In your browser, just type in gemini.google.com and then we are ready to start. So this is the kind of an interface that you will get when you open up gemini.google.com on web. Here is where we are going to start typing in. So I've just mentioned that we are going to try and create a quiz, right? So think of a topic which you possibly learned today itself, but you're not too sure whether you did understand everything. Have you been able to catch all the terms that came up, etc. So I am going to just take a very simple prompt, and I'm not being too rigid about the framework and the parts framework as of now. I'm only going to ask, create an interactive MCQ on game theory. Maybe we can say with the 5 questions, right? Now, if you want to add more context to it, you would say, okay, are you doing this in an eco class or are you learning it in a year 2, etc. Let's see what this gives me right away. And I'm just putting it simple chat. Create an interactive MCQ, right? Designed to test your knowledge of game theory. So it has just given me right now, it hasn't resulted in an interactive MCQ. It has just given me a list of questions with the choices, which also is great. You can always, look at question and answers. I was expecting it to be more of an interactive where I can act or work with it. It hasn't resulted in it. And, it doesn't always behave in the same fashion. But let's take a look at this MCQ quiz that has come in. So it has given you the question with the 4 choices. You can start revising from here. And as you go further down, you also get the answer key and explanation. So be a good student, first answer, and then check the first answer yourself, and then look at the answers maybe at the end of the book as well. And then you can then continue the conversation from here. As you can see, this is also creating a kind of an answer key which you can export to sheets. That's an added advantage of Gemini. You can, of course, copy from here, but you can also export it to Sheets, Google Sheets. And then maybe you want to enhance it or share it with someone, you can do that. Not only that, it also extend the conversation. It says, how did you do? If you would like, I can explain a specific concept further. So it's asking you, related to the game theory, something more do you want to learn? You can continue this conversation. Now that we have reached up to this point, take a look at the icons. You can always redo this because you may not like the questions. You can copy the responses, click on these 3 dots, and you can double check the response. This is where you can also check the source from where this information has come. You can listen to them. You can export, draft it in Gmail directly, and move on. So right now it has worked on the model of 2.5 Flash. If I wanted to change the model, I can again look at here. There is a fast and then there is a thinking with repo. Thinking with repo comes with limited tokens, so need to be careful. Sometimes you may exhaust the entire number of tokens allocated to you with one conversation. So be on watch for that. We are going to come and look at more of such interactive quiz that can be formed. This is right now just a list of questions. As I said, sometimes Gemini gives you something which is slightly unexpected. I was expecting it to be more of an interactive quiz, whereas it has created a more of a, one would say, list of questions. When I say interactive quiz, sometimes you may even get this response, which we will learn as we go along to create using Canvas as well. Here, you can actually interact, go question one by one, try out the answers, and you will get the feedback from there. Let's keep that on hold for the time being, and we'll come back to creating such interactive quizzes as well. I hope you have tried something and you've got a good response by Gemini, and we are ready to explore. Let's move to the next scenario. Again, another one as a student. Maybe you have finished one term and now you are sitting down to revise, going through a particular practice exam, but still you have a large course content with you, but you are not too sure. You've forgotten few things. You want to start learning fresh. Now, when you want to start learning fresh, you don't want to just get the answers. You want to learn. That is where guided learning comes in. So guided learning is based on the principle of learning, which basically is the conversational mode of Gemini that acts as a Socratic tutor. It will make learning interactive. It will break down the problems, ask you some probing questions so that you can think rather than just get the answers. So let's check out what guided learning does for us. So again, we are going to open guided learning in Gemini, and then we are going to start asking it to maybe, try and learn something. Think of a concept which, you're very confused with, and you want to start asking Gemini to help you with. Go back, start a new chat, click on the tools, and look for guided learning. You have to make sure that you activate this tool. Do not start just by putting the prompt and then pressing the submit. That will not give you the response that guided learning is made for. So I have a tough homework. I have, as a anatomy student, I learned this in one their roles with some questions to help you piece it together. Got that? It's not giving you the answer directly. And then as you go further down, you have to observe that each of these points are very nicely shown with certain emojis as well. At the same time, you're also given the source. The links are there. If you want, you can go ahead and try to explore them here. But further down, also now helping you to understand the topic by looking at the image. So I'm sorry, I think I missed sharing the web page here. This is the tab that I should be. So as I added the problem to the guided learning, it responded and it gives me this little nice response where every point has a link added to it, and it also enhances it by giving me the images, sometimes even videos. Now, images, as you look at here, is a nice image of the description. Of course, it's a Shutterstock image that has been added in, but it definitely is helpful for us to understand, what it looks like. So let's go back and look at possibly the information here. Again, more information coming in that tabular form, which if I want to store or move out of this chat, I can move to the sheets, export to Google Sheets, and I have this image coming again. Once I have gone through all this content, because it's a guided learning, it also ends with saying, let's check your understanding. So it will not just give you the answer and leave you at that. Answer is not in fact complete. It continues with the conversation. So you are asked if a cell's main job is to secrete insulin, what type of ER would you expect? So if you have actually read through all of this, you would have an answer. If you're still unsure, let's behave like one of those students who has not understood. So I can always say, I'm not sure, right? So if I say that, it's going to now again supplement this knowledge information, and it starts by assuring you no problem at all. Let's think about what those two substances actually are to find the answer. So it takes you back into the basics again and starts helping you to understand. This is where we say we are using Gemini for guided learning. So again, remember, before you send out your prompt, choose among the tools. There are all these 4 tools. From there, first choose guided learning. This is the best tool for a student to ensure that they are using Gemini for learning, not just for getting the answers. So how and where will you use guided learning? Do share in the chat with us. Maybe, of course, homework help. Maybe you're coding something and you've got stuck and you want to revise some of the basic rules that you had picked up in the class. Maybe a new topic, exam prep, or maybe something you are passionate about but never had an opportunity to learn. Could be photography or a particular sport, or you are looking for maybe you are a humanities student, but now you've got suddenly interested in how the cells grow and what are the main functions of various organs. So if you are changing your thoughts or changing your interest, you can use Gemini in guided learning mode to learn better. Let's move on from here to another scenario. We are looking at, again, being student, you are definitely asked, if not at the beginning, but at the end of the semesters, to present your learning. So you topic, you've worked on it, and now you need to deep dive into the search, and you want to find some reliable sources, explore key ideas, and also you want to start sharing and shaping your main points. So this is the time when deep research comes in action. So in Gemini, the wonderful tool that you have is deep research. As the name suggests, deep research is the tool which will explore through hundreds, sometimes more than 100 web sources, from where or in which the information related to the topic is available. It will extract that findings from those web resources and then build up insightful, one would say, multi-page reports. And it will also help you to transform those multi-page reports into more presentable information. So let's start with exploring deep research. Where do I go for that? Of course, back to Gemini. And in Gemini, always when you are changing the mode and you're thinking of a new topic, start with a new conversation. I'm going to click on this tool and look for deep research. Deep research on, and now what you need is the prompt. So think of what you would want to do research on. Entirely up to you what your interest is. Maybe you are trying to put together a presentation on the impact of social media, right? So that's the prompt I have chosen here. Preparing a short university presentation, on how social media affects focus and productivity. And then I also say what my prelim work has been. I have explored tools, ideas like digital distraction, multitasking, and I would like to build on those. So, one of the recent additions to deep research has been that, for example, you've already done some prelim work on this topic. This research you might have documented in your Google search or in your Gmail. There are documents based on this. Maybe your drive has some documents or papers that you had collected over a period of time. You might have had a group chat, Google chat with your mentor and your one would say classmates. So all of that would be in Google chat. If those sources are also something that you want to refer to, you can select from here. Or you have some files lying in your local drive and you want to use those also, you can upload those files from here, right? So I don't have right now any research done on it, but it can be put to use. So with that prompt, deep research selected, I'm going to submit this prompt. Being deep research will take longer than the usual responses that we are getting. Take a look at how it starts. So here it starts by saying, I put together a research plan. And then it suggests, shares that research plan with you. You have a choice of course, reading through it. So it has already suggested 8 points that it will follow. And if this does not work for you, you can edit the plan. If you think the path that is being kind of tried, so what is it suggesting? It will find recent academic literature reviews, investigate the specific cognitive mechanism, research the neurological basis, etc., etc. If this sounds good enough for you, and it has also talked about what we had asked in the prompt, that I want a list of 10 relevant credible sources. So it says, yes, it will curate that as well. So if all of this sounds good to us, then we start research. So this is where you need to be a little more patient and let it do the research. And as it starts the research, it will also give you a little sidebar and it says, I'm on it. I'll let you know when your research is done. In the meantime, you can leave this chat. So it will keep doing the work. If you want to, leave this chat and start doing some other work, you can get on with it. I'm going to just show you a few seconds of this and then maybe use one of my earlier experiments and see how it shapes up. Take a look at this. It's already researching through almost 10 websites here. That's not where it's going to stop. It'll go deeper and deeper. Take a look at the number of websites it has already visited, synthesizing the core finding. And so it shares its thinking from where the information is going to get collected. And from there, the conversation is going to go forward. So this is how the deep research works step by step. And it keeps the conversation very transparent. It shows you how and what it is thinking about. The prompt that we have just used is maybe it has lots of information available in multiple websites. This is what the benefit of deep research is, because sometimes you don't even know which websites to actually visit to figure out, where and what the information is. So as it, works through it, I'm going to take you to an earlier attempt with the same prompt. So take a look at this now. It's exactly the same prompt that I have just used. And it started thinking, gave me a plan. I said, start research. And then it gives me the indication, research is complete. This is the research that it has put together. Multi-page report, did we say? It has created this multi-page report. Spend time looking through it. But if you think this is good to go, you want to share it ahead, you want to use this information, what are the different things you can do? You can, of course, share and export from here. You can create a public link from here, this share button, and you can use that. But if you are working within the Google Workspace for Education account, then this link may not get be shared outside your domain, considering the restrictions of your domain. And what more, you can also create, this is the best part of deep research. It can create all of these 5 things: web page, infographic, quiz, flashcards, and also audio overview. So if you want to put together this research and take it out of the Gemini, you can create the web page from here. Let's see what web page, because I had, as I said earlier, I'd already created this because it does take a little longer than our usual chat. So this is where we are looking at the graphic, in fact, coming up, as well as we are looking at the web page coming up. So here is the entire web page being converted, is coming with some tabs as well, and some very interactive graphs. So the entire information is going to be presented in this format. If you are eager to share it ahead, you can go and check out the code behind it, copy the code, maybe create an HTML file with it, or you can also embed this code in a Google site, and then you are free to share it with the world. So that's one great benefit of having the website created, as web page rather created, with all of these extra tabs as well with it. What else can we do? Let's see what else I have tried out here. So let's open it as an infographic, because there is so much material in that report. It would be nice to put it together in a more presentable manner where things are becoming graphically easy to read. So you can create an infographic. Take a look at this. You can also ask it to change the color scheme. You can add or iterate on it and ask for specific part of the report to be put together in an infographic. So this is also possible. Where did we go for that? Again, in the report, create, and you have all these options. Not to forget the audio overview. So again, if you look at this, there is a choice to make an audio overview. If I click open this, it will, okay, sorry, this was the quiz. Here is the audio overview.
Okay, let's dive right in.
So
Today we're looking at something
and come to this one.
pretty fundamental. The
This
real
is
chronic
audio overview.
costs of being connected.
Not
all
too
the
sure
time.
if
Right.
you
And
are
we're moving
able
beyond
to
just,
hear it.
distraction. The
Give
sources
me
here
a
point
thumbs
to
up if
actual
you think you are
structural
able to
cognitive
hear
impairment.
Impairment that really
audio.
undermines our ability to do what they call deep work.
That's the core mission of this deep dive. We're synthesizing
It's
evidence
audible,
from
ma'am.
cognitive science, from neuroscience, and what it shows is that this isn't
You're not able to hear?
It is audible, ma'am.
Great, thanks.
about time management.
Or willpower.
Exactly. It's a structural fragmentation of our deep intellectual processes. Every time we switch apps, we incur a hidden expense, a kind of
So
cognitive
again,
debt.
that entire multi-page report has been put together for, say, 4 minutes of around 5 minutes of audio overview. So for example, if you are ready to go and present your paper, create an audio overview, download it. Just use these 3 buttons, download, and you have now a podcast which you can hear just to quickly revise the paper before you go and present it, right? So lots of benefit coming in. Another thing that I showed you here was the quiz. Again, checking whether you have understood what you have put together. We can have so many ways of catching up with this. So there's infographic, there's an audio overview, and to end up with flashcards. So flashcards are absolutely amazing. They are good for us to revise the concepts, revise the big ideas that we had put together in this paper, and it will help you to make a better presentation. So much can be done with the deep research, multi-page report created, and then taking you back here to show you where did we go to create? Web page, infographic, quiz as well, flashcards, audio overview. And then you can perhaps experiment more with it. So I hope you're fascinated with deep research and you're going to go and spend some time thinking about how it is going to benefit you. Some of the use cases that I can share right now would be, again, definitely trying to identify certain research gaps. So if you have already created a paper, you've got your literature ready, and now ask deep research to go through it and then search for what are the gaps there. Maybe you are trying to put together a grant proposal. You are keen to, somewhere go and start something new on your own or experiment with. Then what are the ways that you can use Gemini for ideation? Explore various career paths. Ask deep research to do that for you. What are the benefits, when you are looking at multidisciplinary kind of careers? Ensure accuracy, always important. Also looking at interdisciplinary connections. There is so much that you can do with deep research. And I think as students, you know what your needs are. Now that you have seen the power of deep research, I'm sure you will have better ways of telling me how you want to use it. So please share your thoughts right now. Tell us in the chat, where will you use deep research? Don't wait for the end of the session. Start thinking it right now and share with us. We would love to know what your thoughts are. Let's move on. There's so much more to do, right? You are still a student. You are learning. Your needs are different, right? So again, sometimes people, especially like me, we forget that we are going at a pace which you cannot keep up with. You want to now, at your pace, at your time, you want to revise the concepts. You want to revise the concepts, ask the questions which you could not ask in class. So sometimes very simple thing is repeatedly required. You would want to use maybe almost similar prompts as well to create something for yourself, perhaps. That is where we use something special known as gems. So gems are absolutely amazing possibility, opportunity for you to create your own customized version of Gemini, which will basically help you, one, to learn better, because you can create a learning coach or learning gem. You can also use it to create a gem to where the repetitive task can be answered quickly, where you can chat with gem and it will give you a tailor-made response, right? Let's see what that means by going into the gems and first of all, exploring where do we see the gems, because in all the chat that we talked about, we did not see anywhere the option of gems here. So don't forget that there is a sidebar. Under these three lines, we are looking at new chat, all the old chats that we have interacted with. And by the way, if you like something that you have created and you want to refer back to it, always have an option of pinning that chat. So if you click on these three dots, you can share the conversation, you can pin, you can rename, you can also delete, right? But let's now focus on gems. So where do we go for gems? Right under the new chat, there is also a new option of my stuff, anything new that I might have created. And then I have gems. If you click on this little arrow, it will open up gems where you will be able to see one. Of course, it's suggesting me something from Google Labs, but let's not worry about that because every one of us might have a slightly different interface. I have Labs in Google, so it's prompting me. But what are the things that it is going to share with you are some gems which are shared by Google, pre-made by Google. Take a look at this. Pre-made by Google. So some gems are already created by Google and they're ready to use as we start. And then we can take a quick look at how we can create our own gem. Let's look at show more, and you can see some interesting gems here. The names themselves are very, one would say, self-explanatory, but also interesting. If you are interested to create a customized picture, don't worry, even if you are 18 plus, creating a storybook is an amazing gem. Career guide, learning coach, brainstormer, chess champ, women's World Cup. So this happened during the World Cup that we were having, coding partner, writing partner. I'm going to show you one quick demo of learning coach, and then we will create one of our own gem. So learning coach is made to help you learn and practice new concepts. So it says by Learn LM, and here to help you learn and practice new concepts. Tell me what you would like to learn, and I'll help you get started. So if you are, student in whatever level of education you are, if you're curious to learn something new, you can use this because it's made to teach you that. So suppose I ask for maybe anatomy, let's take something which is already have binary numbers. Why not? What are binary numbers? If you are a social science, humanities student, maybe you have never heard of binary numbers. You want to learn binary system, or you have already learned it, but you want to revise it. It starts by just almost behaving like the learning, guided learning that we did, but it starts with giving you the definition. These are the simplest way to count, so it gives you the definition, then it shares the learning plan, and it takes you step 1 to step 3. It also gives you a video to watch, you have sources to go through, and some questions to answer. This is Learning Coach pre-made by Google. Sometimes your needs are specific. You want to create a customized gem which will answer your needs. So for that, we are going to click on New Gem. And what will the new gem do? You decide what you want it to do. Think of perhaps a textbook that is available with you. You want to understand that course book. So let's try to create a book, a gem based on a course book. That means I have a possibility to attach the knowledge or context here, and I'm going to call it to be my coach. And what is this coach going to do? It's going to help me to understand the topic that I'm going to study. What topic? Maybe an EVS topic. So I have a textbook of a certain institution in PDF format, which I'm going to use as the base, the context book. And I'm going to ask it to prompt that I'm typing here. What is my prompt? Act as a joyful, engaging, and patient environmental studies tutor and personal learning coach. What's his job? You're going to guide the undergraduate students through their coursework, helping them grasp key concepts, etc. Also, I'm deciding that it should be cheerful, interactive, encouraging. I'm also saying throw in some emojis to make my learning more, colorful. If this prompt is not sufficient, what I can do is I can use the Gemini to rewrite this prompt, because now it will expand it. It will make it much more detailed. So Gemini, within the Gemini is acting, and all that is left is attaching the book. So I'm going to find a book from my drive, which is going to be my context book. So I'm going to look for an EVS document that I have in my drive, which is going to be the context book for it. So EVS PDF. It's a thick book, for which I have the correct. So let's select this and insert. There we go. Now it's just going to upload from my Google Drive. I can also add multiple sources here, and it is ready to move on. So what's happening now? So this is, what's the role of this? It's going to be my help you learn. Let's give it a description. Help you learn EVS And I can also say start the conversation. How do you start the conversation? I'm going to ask it to start conversation with a hi. That's what I'm only leaving at, right? And it is ready. I can test it also. Let's test and see if it is ready to be saved, if it is behaving in the manner that I have asked it to. So I'm going to just say hi, and it starts with hello there. It's such a pleasure to meet you. Remember, I've said use emojis. So I'm so excited to be your personal EVS tutor, learning coach, etc. And then it says, okay, you have given me this book. So it's going to draw the context entirely from the textbook that has been attached. And then it says, okay, let's start thinking about what do you want to learn? What are the topics that you want to look at, right? So this looks like in the correct mode. So I'm going to save it. This becomes now my EVS coach. Let's start chat with it. So again, I'm going to ask you to think of what would you create? Maybe your requirements are different. Maybe you are trying to set up a certain hackathon, perhaps, and you are going to ask for repeatedly, I'm going to ask Gemini to create some social media content for you, right? Think of, would that help if you have a gem to do that for you? Because you will only basically give it a prompt and it will start acting on it. So let's see how this one acts. I'm going to just start with saying hello. I can say hello as well. And now what are we looking at? It says, okay, let us get started. And it says, okay, you have given me the book, and it lists the chapters. So I'm going to start with, okay, what specific topic? I want the first topic. So I'm going to only type one. So you can see as I go ahead that it's helping me to save time, because it's already prepared to act the way that I am expecting it to. So it says, okay, it understands number one means understanding the science. That's the first chapter. And then it starts explaining the concept. It tells me how global warming works, because that's the first chapter about. It goes again, sharing more text facts. Again, starts with leaving me with the question. So it's a bit like so it explains what global warming is. And then it asks me to share. Can you think of a daily activity that you might be adding a layer to? So it's definitely something where you are able to answer only if you have read the chapter. So it's helping you to go through the topic, revise the topic, answer. And again, if you are one of those, one would say, stubborn student like me, then I'm going to say, I am not sure, because I'm only wanting an answer. I don't want to think. Will Gemini give you an answer immediately? Let's see. What do you think? Idea is that you have made it to be a tutor. It's not going to help you by giving you the answer. It wants you to think. So take a look at this. No worries at all. And it gives you a heart emoji as well. Sometimes these concepts can feel a bit abstract. So it's assuring me that all is well. You will learn, and it gives you more ideas. Actions which are adding to the global warming, something which I can change, maybe starting with using air conditioners in a more managed way, etc. So it starts with that. And then again, it says, to make it more personal, if you had to pick one thing in your house, what would that be? So this is the benefit of creating a gem, where we have created a gem only to go through one textbook. Very quickly, I'm going to show you one more example. And then, so here is another gem, which is called Lab Help. It's built on the lab manual of an engineering course. And so what is its job? It's basically ask for help with the experiments. So same instructions can be given, and of course you can enhance them with Gemini. And now if I say, okay, hi, and I start the conversation, it will kind of list out the experiments, which experiment do you want to learn, and what are the things that you want to learn with it. Maybe if I've asked it to generate the list of the entire apparatus or the setup that I must have in the lab, list of items that I need, it will help me understand that. So it says, okay, with specific, so I can say, maybe right now it has not given me the list. I can say experiment 1. I've only typed 1, and I hope it will understand that 1 means the first experiment. Sometime it will list you the entire set of experiments. So here it is. It says the first experiment is the triangle law and polygon. Again, where is this information coming from? From a certain lab manual PDF. So this is very customized to the content that you have shared, and so much is possible with it. You can get this list, then it says, okay, do you want to know the theoretical principles? So your life will, in terms of the day-to-day working, you're saving time. And remember, we did say productivity. You are learning better. So obviously you're going to improve on your performance and so on. There's so much that gems and the deep research, guided learning, and not to forget something called as Canvas, because all the code where we had the infographic, we had the interactive quiz, these are being created by Canvas. Keeping in mind that we need to move on to more, one would say, new things that we need to learn. Let's talk about one for a minute only at Canvas, what Canvas is. Canvas is the tool in Gemini which helps you to create something, code something. It could also be maybe vibe coding. So the web page that you saw in the code, I didn't write a line of the code. So that's again a vibe coding that we are thinking about. Let's look at a little app that one could possibly create using vibe coding. So here is one little example. Just by natural language, you prompt Canvas to create simulation for Newton's second law, right? So here I can change the mass. I can maybe create some kind of a balance here, and then I say start. So some very basic simulation like this to a more complex simulations can be created by Canvas, where you can, in live, you can use AI to edit, to improve, and continue the conversations from there. So that is Canvas, not only to create quiz and web page, but also simulations. Let's go on because we have so much more to do. We have the next thing as Notebook LM. Again, something which is so unique and something which is so important and useful, simply because this is a tool which is going to act on the sources that you would provide. It's a multimodal AI tool. That means it can interact with many different formats like PDFs, MP3, websites, Google Docs. And what does it do? It will create something for you based on the sources that we are going to share with. Where does one go for it and how does one use it? That's what our next segment is going to be on. Let me know if you have heard of Notebook LM. Did you ever try to create a Notebook LM? Did you see its use anywhere? And first and most important, how do you access Notebook LM? So if in the Chrome browser, you type in notebooklm.google. Go ahead, do that. Notebooklm.google. It will bring you to this web page. Of course, stay signed in to your Gmail account with which you want to experience this. Notebook LM also has a mobile app. Some restrictions are there, but it still do a wonderful job. So here is our big button to say try Notebook LM. Click on that. If this is your first time, then this dashboard would look blank, or you might see some featured notebooks. So you might see some notebooks that are prepared by Google, which you can explore and enjoy. For example, here's one of William Shakespeare. And this is the interface that you would get when you open a notebook LM, which has already been created. Let's first get familiar with the interface, and then we will try to create and explore one of our own as well. So here on the left side, this panel, so it's basically divided into 3 sections. Left panel is where the sources are added. The middle one is where the chat is happening. And the last one, the third panel, is called Studio, where all these multimodal outputs are happening. What are the things that are available here? There is an infographic that you can create based on all the sources that you have, or selective one. So this right now is, created this infographic based on 45 sources. So very, very detailed infographic being created. You are also looking at the deck, entire slide deck being created. You're also having here the video and audio overviews. So you can create multiple video, multiple audio overviews. So let's take just 30 seconds here to see this video on Hamlet. Hamlet Explained. I'm going to play it. I hope you are able to hear it.
You know, for over 400 years, one play has pretty much defined the very idea of tragedy. It's a ghost story, it's a detective story, and it's a bloody tale of revenge that has absolutely captivated the world. So what is it about a 400-year-old story about a Danish prince that feels so immediate, so modern?
So I'm going to just move it ahead to show you that it has various, parts goes on. It also takes the text, it changes the images, and there's a very nice description. This is a longish video. We can create brief, we can customize these videos, and there is loads of possibilities to that. So let's just take one good look at one more thing before we go on. Of course, there is an audio overview. I'm looking, yes, mind maps. Mind maps are unique to Notebook LM. So when we are, for example, again, as a student, you have a big content, you have your resources in forms of a textbook, perhaps, classroom lectures, you have videos, you've got all them together in a Notebook LM. Now you want to understand all of that content. Notebook LM Mind Maps helps you to give you that opportunity to get this kind of a web, and each of these nodes can further be expanded, learned with, and then understood. And also, if, for example, here, Hamlet on honesty, if there is a mention of that, if you click on little node here, it will take you back to the source, and we will be able to understand the concept, where it has come from, try to understand more about what Hamlet on honesty has said, and we are able to kind of put together our understanding and develop our understanding from there. So this one is an other that we are going to talk about. These are all created in the free model, not the pro. So you can have at the most 50 sources that can be added in. That's a lot. So you will perhaps not need 50 all the time, but you can add 50 sources. So let's open up back to the Notebook LM, and let's take a look at one of the notebook that I can start with, perhaps on something which is a very common topic. If you are a science student, maybe you have been given or attended a live session or a webinar like this in a video mode, right? So you have got access to what is called as, the NPTEL lessons. Tell me if you have heard of NPTEL entire library. So there is a hour-long lecture which has been delivered, and now you want to understand it. You can use that as the source. And based on this source, I can see some chat that has happened here. I've added another document here. And from here, based on this content, we can start the conversation. So what is the conversation that we are going to start with? We are going to start with the conversation to understand the topic. So again, coming back here, some of these prompts are already available, like how do core assumptions of frictionless. So it's basically making you, give you some prompt to question the concept and learn better. But if you have different question than that, then you can start typing here. So maybe you want to understand what is the significance, right? So if you want to say, okay, I only want to know what is the significance of Bernoulli's equation. So if I just type that, I can interact with it. And based on the two sources, it's going to answer. I can choose that it doesn't answer on two sources. It takes answers only from one source. Good thing is that it will not deviate from these sources. It will only answer what is available in the sources. So that means no hallucinations are going to come. So this is where we are looking at significance coming in. Now, I may not understand this in this manner. Maybe I wanted to understand in a simpler language. So what can I do? I can ask it to explain the concept as if you're explaining to a middle school student. So I did that, experimented with that earlier. And you can see it also creates a note like this one, which you can save. Because these chats that we do in Notebook LM, these chats are not saved. So you need to click on Save to Note, and that note will show up in the Studio panel. For example, in this case here. This is one good way. For example, you're trying to understand and you've asked many questions, but there are some that you want to come back to. So you click on Save to Note. They're available here, and you can always go through them and prepare, whenever the time matters and whenever you need to be ready to again revise or relook at it. So that's what you can do with this chat here. More things can be done, in fact, in chat. You can customize what kind of chat you want. So configure chat. You can choose this. What kind of a conversational goal do you have? Maybe the default, but maybe learning guide. Remember learning guide, guided learning. So you can give a persona to the Notebook LM. They don't give me the answer directly. Help me learn. Or you can even give it a custom role, that be a stern tutor. Don't give in to my whims. Just be very strict with me. Or be very gentle because I've not learned anything. Treat me like a middle school student. So kind of responses, do you want long answers or do you want short answers? Once you have configured your chat, it will start responding in that manner. So that is something what you can do in chat. Let's go back to the sources. What else can you do in sources and how do we add sources? So we'll come back to this notebook. Let's look at a new one, absolutely blank new one. As I opened up a new one, a pop-up comes up which says add sources, upload sources. I can start from here. If I accidentally or deliberately close it, I get again the same interface. I can add sources from here again. I can click. If you have a local file like docx or even a markdown, audio, MP3, BMP, GIF, any of these format, you can upload them. You can take files from your Google Drive. You can take some website links, YouTube links, even if you have handwritten notes. Just scan them, turn them into a PDF document, or even take an image of them. Those can become your sources. If you have content somewhere where you can copy and paste, this is where you can come back to. So much possible for us. I'm going to use perhaps the same video that I took as an example earlier. So if I'm looking at the NPTEL, one would say the video, I'm just trying to track it down. and get back to our notebook LM. I'm going to go to YouTube and going to click on paste YouTube URL, insert. So I'm going to try and duplicate almost what I showed you earlier so that you can understand step by step how it has got formulated. So it says it's an educational video lecture on fluid mechanics, specially focused on Bernoulli's equation. You don't have to think that it's only for science. Whatever topic you're learning, you can use it. If these sources are not enough, if one video is not enough for you, you can add more sources. Again, the same as we said earlier. But if you don't have any more source, you can find those sources. So take a look at this, something known as a discover sources. For example, add sources, there is a discover sources. I've closed this because I want to show you something new. Search the web for new sources. So here is where I can perhaps say, okay, I want to talk about Bernoulli's equation, right? That's my theme. So I'm going to click on this. Now you have two choices. You can go into the web or drive. You can also do a fast research or a deep research. The same deep research that we talked about earlier. This will definitely take more time. But if I want to just depend on web sources, best sources from the web on Bernoulli's, connected with, the fluid problem, I can select that and submit this. It will now go through various websites, pick up some of the best sources, which then I can make use of. So this is how it will work. Again, do you want to use all of them or not? May not. So don't just blindly take these sources. Go and click on view, check each one of them. And good thing is, take a look at these little arrows here. These are arrows to pull out this source to check out as to where it has come from, even if it is a Wikipedia page. So if I click on this, it opens up to the Wikipedia page from where this has been linked. Check out the content and check the accuracy. Think about, is this meaningful? Is this connected to your topic or not? If it is, then yes, you are going to use it, else discard it. So I'm going to not use any one of them blindly, but maybe I'm going to keep this one as it is. Bernoulli's equation, it provides key fluid flow assumptions, etc., etc. Import. Now I have two sources with me on the basis of which the notebook LM is going to act. And what can you create from there? What all that you can see here: audio overview, video overview, mind map, reports, flashcards, quiz, infographic, slide deck. In free version, you have a beta version of infographic and slide deck. Basically, what that means is, in a day, you can create only one infographic, but it's worth trying it out. So, and also not to miss, there is a little pen icon. So instead of clicking right here for an audio overview, you can click on the pen icon and then you can choose the kind of audio overview you want. Do you want it to be a deep dive, brief, critique, debate even? Right? So if I want a brief, a bite-sized overview to help you grasp the core idea, that's good enough. You can also choose the language. So our sources are in English. But if you learn better in your mother tongue, you can look for that language here. So let's see if we can find any other regional language, although it did show right on the top, you have Hindi, Bangla, Marathi. There are 9 regional languages that are listed there. Let me find one here. So suppose Hindi, right? I want to create this audio overview in Hindi. What should AI host focus on in this episode? You can give the specification. So I can say maybe application of Bernoulli's equation. I can simply ask for that and nothing more. So once you choose what your AI host should focus on, and I have chosen the language, what format I want, I can click on generate. This always takes a little more time, not just a few minutes. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes. Give it its time, move on to the other stuff, start creating something which is going to be of interest to you. And I have the privilege of showing you what I had created earlier. So let's take a look at here certain things that I had created, and let's find one which is not in English, if I've not forgotten to do that. I think everything seems to be in English here, but definitely you have mind map, you have flashcards, and you have video as well as audio overviews. So here is the flashcards. So again, how do we use flashcards? Let's expand the viewer here, and you can see that there is a question here and you can answer because you're revising, right? Or if you're unsure, you see the answer. If you're unsure why this answer, ask it to explain. It will take you straight back into the source. Isn't that fantastic? You are getting so many opportunities to learn and learn better with Notebook LM. So as we go along, we are looking at many other ways of getting this sorted out. Let's take a look at two more things before we look at general use cases. And I want to hear from you. What would be the general other use cases that you think are going to be? Let's let's watch this. A very short video where we are talking about who is Bernoulli, right? Since we are learning Bernoulli's equation.
You've
So
probably heard the name Bernoulli, right? Well, it connects flight, storms, and even our bodies. It kind of sounds like a riddle, doesn't it? But all three are linked by one single powerful idea. And it all starts with this guy, Daniel Bernoulli, an 18th century Swiss mathematician and physicist. He and Leonhard Euler got curious about something inside us, the link between blood speed and its pressure. When a fluid's speed so much more than theory,
okay, I'm taking it a little
biggest
ahead.
rules, conservation of energy.
What are the various
just-
possibilities that this video has? It has really summed up the specific question that has been asked, which is very general, but it has given you a lot of information. Same will go for many other, whether it is application or it is the core concept that you are learning there, because you can create multiple videos, right? Let's also look at the last thing, but most important, the infographics. Because infographics are something which really summarize that entire content, and you can also customize these infographics. So here is an infographic on Bernoulli's equation, the power and pitfalls of fluid flow. So it has really put together the entire information in a most beautiful manner. And there is so much that you can gain by using Notebook LM. What can I, one would say summarize for you would be perhaps in a format of an infographic. What you can use it to improve your efficient reading and summarization when you have so many sources. Not to forget that everything will be grounded. All responses that are coming in, all outputs that have come are grounded on the sources that have been shared. Nothing it will be able to answer if information has not been supplied. Of course, it will help to create these multi-format study aids. It will help you to create those podcasts with which you can even do live interactions, because in a webinar style, it is a little tricky to open up that right now. So I'm not doing it. Giving you a hint that you can actually interact with those podcasts. Leaving you with, again, one last tip, how to make the best use of Notebook LM. One, if you are in the place where you are now looking for jobs, you have created your own resume. Step one, that becomes your source. Two, you want to check your match. So do your skills fit the job? So look for the company where you're applying. Look for the profile of that company. Look for the profile of the job that you are looking for. Take those as your sources. And then ask Notebook LM to do the comparison and ask, is my application strong enough? Is my profile good enough for the job that I'm applying? If not, what are the skills I'm missing? Have that private conversation with Notebook LM, and you will find that it will help you to get a better understanding of where you are going. So this is not a very academic, one would say, use case, but Notebook LM is amazing even to get your resume shaped up better so that you get better opportunities. Last but not the least, make good use of Notebook LM by using good quality sources, dependable sources. If your sources have a flaw, if your sources have an incorrect information, the output will carry that with authenticity. It will kind of put it out like this is the right information because it's only following what you have given it. So please check the source. Be very specific and clear when you ask it to create something, answer to you. Also, explore those generated content, use it as a study guide, create your vocabulary list, use it as a FAQs. Again, citations, those little numbers and links, each one of them are interactive. It will take you back to the source. And of course, don't forget to save the notes if you find a good conversation happening. Iterate if it doesn't help you get what you are looking for. That's the key to looking at the use of Notebook LM. So again, I hope this session has been useful for you. You've learned lots of ideas. Don't forget to look out for more sources that will be shared with you. Look also Google for Gemini certification for higher ed students. You can earn that badge and add it to your profile and say that, yes, you are Gemini certified as well once you clear that exam. Leaving that for you to explore on your own. And with that, wrapping up today's session, over to you, Bhavna ma'am.
You will get another link also, that's a 50 plus ways for your future reference that how to use Gemini. Thank you so much, everyone.